I looked over my shoulder, making sure no one was around. Then I grabbed 3 of my shirts and stuffed them into my bag. I had to run away tonight. It was now or never. Just then my mom barged into the room and yelled, "Why are you still here?" I was studying. Studying? Go milk the cows. Books are not for you, stupid girl. I rolled my eyes and grabbed the milk bucket. Hi, I'm Amara from Greece. I was all set up to run away from my village to escape a terrible fate, when I suddenly got an opportunity that changed my life forever. But before I continue, click like and subscribe. The next day in class, our teacher barged in and wrote a question on the board. "Now who can solve this?" I looked around and then raised my hand. No sweat! As soon as I was done solving the question, I saw everyone staring at a tall woman walking towards me to the front of the classroom. "So, you're the famous Amara. Your teachers did say you were a genius." "Signomi, who are you?" "She's Miss Mercedes, the vice principal of a huge school in the city. She's come here to offer a scholarship to the smartest kid in class." I just stood staring at her, my mouth open. Was this for real? "I don't have all day, child. Will you accept it?" Yes, absolutely. Just the day I had planned to run away, I'd been given a scholarship? I was being saved by God. 20 minutes later, my teacher was at my house, trying to convince Mama to let me go, but she kept shaking her head stubbornly. "Mama, I'm not doing this for myself. I want to be a doctor so I can take care of you." For a minute, I thought she might actually give in, but then she started to scream, "I've told you! Your place is here. What will you do at a school?" Then Miss Mercedes took out 50 euros and handed them to Mama. Okay, maybe it's not so bad to go to school. The next day, I was at a train station with my mom, and hundreds of villagers had gathered to bid me goodbye. I tearfully hugged Mama, and she spat at me 3 times for good luck. Ftoo, ftoo, ftoo. Then she put a talisman around my neck. "My darling girl, take this. It will bring you good fortune. Come back rich and make your mama proud." I rolled my eyes, but accepted it. And then suddenly every woman was giving me a talisman of her own. I finally hopped onto the train and was so impatient to leave, I could almost push it. Just then, the train started moving away. I couldn't believe it. I was actually getting out of here. I could almost dance with joy. "Sit down. I will be watching you constantly. One wrong move, and I'll have your stupid villager butt back here in no time." When we finally got to the house I'd be staying at, I was spellbound. Lots of servants were waiting for us outside. At the front was a man with kind eyes. Oh, I'd seen guys like him in movies. "You must be the butler. Please take my bag." There was a pin-drop silence for a moment, and everyone looked horrified. Then the butler burst out into laughter. "You stupid girl! Does he look like a butler? He's the owner of this house and your benefactor, Mr. Armitage." "What? Sir, I'm so sorry. Oh, never mind. I'm just happy to see you, and I'm sure you'll do wonderful things." I noticed he had tears in his eyes. He seemed nice, but a bit weird. When Miss Mercedes led me to my room, I was thrilled to see it was full of books, and there was a TV and a really fancy-looking laptop. I jumped onto the huge bed in delight. Is this really all mine? Are you crazy? This is Dakota's room and her bed. You will sleep there. Before I could ask her who she was, the door flew open and a girl barged in. "Oh my God! Miss Mercedes, why is there a beggar on my bed?" "Miss Dakota. She's a scholarship student. She'll be sharing your room because she can learn lots of things from you. Like manners." "Ugh, I'm talking to Daddy about this." And with that, the girl stormed off. That's Dakota, a real girl of the city. Later that evening, as I roamed around the house, I was walking past the library when I heard Miss Mercedes' voice. "I don't see why you needed to bring that girl here. We have so many other smart kids in our school." "I've told you, I have my reasons." I held my breath as I listened closer. I wanted to know why he'd chosen me. Just then someone whispered in my ear and I nearly screamed. "Are they talking about something interesting?" There was a handsome boy next to me, with his ear pressed to the door. I quickly walked off and he followed me, introducing himself as Gavin, Miss Mercedes' son. He said he and his mom lived here. "Are you a new maid?" "Do I look like a maid to you?" "Oh, I'm sorry." "Save it, city boy. You're all alike. Proud city people." I joined school after a couple of days, and I was so excited. When the first math lesson was about to start, a girl whispered to me, "Psst, you can tell me if you don't understand stuff. I'll help you." I was about to thank her when she continued, "I'm sure the only math you know is counting cows." Why were these people such jerks? Just then, the teacher walked in and started writing a word problem on the board. "There are 85 people in a warehouse. Some of them had turned into zombies, some are still alive. If the ratio of zombies to humans is 2 to 3, how many zombies are there?" Seriously? This was so easy. My pet goat could solve this. But I was shocked to see that everyone in class was just staring blankly. I quietly said, 34. The teacher turned to me. What did you say? I believe the correct answer is 34 zombies. He immediately sat down on his desk and started working out the problem. 10 minutes later, he looked up at me in complete shock. It is 34! How did you do that so fast? And before I knew it, I was being rushed off to the principal's office and the maths teacher was insisting that I was a genius and should be bumped up a grade. That night, Mr. Armitage couldn't stop raving over dinner about how smart I was, and I could see that both Miss Mercedes and Dakota were not happy. A few days later, Miss Mercedes came to me and dumped a pile of dirty clothes on me. You lazy girl. From now on, you'll be doing the laundry. I picked up the clothes and walked to the laundry room. The washing machine with all its buttons was making me feel so nervous. I never used one. But then I told myself, you're Amara. You can do anything. I held my breath and pressed one button. Nothing. Another. Nothing again. A third, and the machine began to roar. Foam and water shot out, and I screamed as I tried to stop it. Then I heard someone laughing. I turned to find Gavin leaning against the wall. What are you looking at? Nothing at all. I was just wondering why they brought you here. But for now, you just need to know that you're pretty cute. Move aside. I'll show you. And he unloaded the first batch of laundry. As he unloaded the first batch of laundry, he said, and that's how it's done. He wiped a soap bubble off my nose, and my heart skipped a beat. He was looking right into my eyes. Wait, was he about to kiss me? Just when his face was just inches away from mine, Dakota burst into the room, and she looked crazy mad. What do you think you're doing, village witch? You live under my roof, and this is how you repay me? By stealing my boyfriend? Dakota, we're not dating. Oh, are you dating her then? Maybe I am. It's none of your business. She screamed and stomped out of the room. Before Gavin could say anything else, I ran out of there. I really didn't need all this drama. The next few days, I tried to avoid Gavin, and Dakota pretended like I didn't even exist. But then one morning, as I was getting ready for school, she threw something on my bed. It was an iPhone. Daddy wanted you to have my old one, so whatever. If you have questions, ask Siri. Who's Siri? A girl at school? Dakota turned to me. No, but she's a nerd like you, and you guys will get along really well. Here's her address. You can meet her there. After school that day, I decided to pay Siri a visit. I followed the directions and was confused when I ended up in the creepy parking garage of an abandoned mall. I immediately decided to leave, but just then, someone put a hand on my shoulder. What you doing here, kid? Did the cops send you? I turned around in horror to see 3 huge men behind me. I tried to make a dash for it, but I tripped over something and fell. Ow! Are you hurt, little girl? You will be if you don't step away from her this minute. From behind the goons stepped out Gavin and some police officers. As the police took them away, he helped me walk to the car. Later at home, Mr. Armitage was extremely distressed. It's so lucky Gavin tracked your phone's location when you didn't come home. But why would you go to such a place, child? I guess I just got lost. I was only looking for Siri at the address Dakota gave me. Everyone suddenly froze and looked at me like I was crazy. Then Mr. Armitage turned to Dakota and started shouting at her. I can't believe you would play such a horrible prank. You put Amara's life in danger. But Dad, I didn't think she was stupid enough to actually go. Not another word. I'm really disappointed in you. Just go to your room. Dakota burst into tears and ran away. Gavin helped me to the guest bedroom and gave me a goodnight kiss on the cheek. Just as I was drifting off to sleep, I suddenly sat up in bed, startled. There was a shadowy figure standing in the doorway. It was Miss Mercedes, staring right at me. Amara, you listen to me very carefully. Stay away from my Gavin. He's supposed to be with a rich girl like Dakota. If you want to keep your little secret, you won't mess with me. And with that, she walked away. I was horrified. Could she really know? I couldn't sleep. Later that night, I got up to get water when I saw a light coming from the study. I peeked in to see Mr. Armitage at his desk, looking worried. He spotted me at the door and told me to come in. When I asked him if something was wrong, he sighed. I don't know why we're making losses. It's just all a mess. Mind if I take a look? He looked really surprised, but nodded. As I started to go through the accounts, I began spotting some problems and gave him a few suggestions to fix them. He looked stunned. Oh, wow! What a gifted young girl you are! I can't wait for you to be part of my company one day. Wait, me? A part of his company? That would be such a dream. Listen, Amara, I'm going away on a business trip, but once I'm back, there's something really important I have to talk to you about. You should go to bed now. But I woke up the next morning to the most horrible news. We found out that Mr. Armitage had been in a bad car accident on his way to the airport. We rushed to the hospital and waited for hours for the doctors to give us some news. Dakota couldn't stop crying, and I put my arm around her. The doctors finally told us that he'd suffered head trauma, but was conscious now. Dakota went rushing to him. Daddy! And she hugged him and cried on his chest. He stroked her hair and said he was just fine. He smiled at everyone, and then his gaze fell on me. And who is this young lady? We all looked at him in shock. It's me, Mr. Armitage. Amara. He looked confused. I'm so sorry, but you're not familiar to me at all. When we told this to the doctor, he said that it was possible the head trauma had made him lose his short-term memory, and he couldn't remember recent events. There was no way to know for sure if it would come back. I was devastated that he didn't even remember me anymore, and now I would never even know what he wanted to talk to me about. A few days after Mr. Armitage had been moved back home, Miss Mercedes walked into the dining room and dumped a bag on the floor. It was my bag. I've made a decision. I'm sending you back to your village, Amara. Mr. Armitage doesn't even know who you are anymore, so I don't see any point of keeping you here. I stared at her in horror. Oh my god, I couldn't go back. Suddenly, Dakota got up from the table. She's not going anywhere. I don't exactly love her, but my dad wanted her here, so she'll stay. Yeah, Mama. Why would she go now? Besides, we really like having her here. The vein on Miss Mercedes' head looked like it was gonna pop, but she just pursed her lips and walked out of the room. A few weeks passed peacefully. Mr. Armitage was recovering well, but still didn't remember me. I was doing really well at school, though, and Gavin and I had started going out. Little did I know that this was the calm before the storm. One night at dinner, there were 2 extra plates at the table. When Gavin asked his mom who was coming, she just said excitedly, "Oh, you'll see. There are some very special guests." A few minutes later, the butler came into the room, followed by someone. When I looked up, I nearly fainted. The whole reason I'd run away from the village was standing in front of me, my fiancé Dimitri, and there was Mama right behind him. Oh, Amara, my love. I came back to the village when you stopped writing to me, and I found out you were gone. Gavin spat out his food. What is going on here? Oh, this is Amara's fiancé. She just forgot to tell us about him. I rose from my chair. No, I can explain. I was forced into this engagement because Mama owes his father money. I don't love him. Gavin, you have to believe me. Gavin just looked at me and walked away. I was about to run after him when Dimitri grabbed my arm. Can you please pay some attention to me, your future husband? There was complete silence in the room. You and your family will pay for this, Amara. And with that, he stormed off. Mama burst into tears and said I had to come home and fix things with Dimitri, or she and my siblings would be kicked out of our house. She looked so much weaker, and it broke my heart to see her cry. I said I would leave with her the next day. The next morning, as we were leaving, I told Mama that I wanted to say goodbye to Mr. Armitage. Mr. Armitage, you don't remember everything you've done for me, but I wanted to thank you. What do you mean I don't remember, Amara? I know exactly why I brought you here. I looked at him in shock. Wait, your memory's back? Just then, Mama came running, saying Dimitri was waiting for us, but she suddenly froze. She and Mr. Armitage were staring at each other like they'd seen ghosts. You, how dare you trick my child and take her away from me? Amara, we're going, now! She dragged me towards the door and I kept yelling at her to let me go. Please, just stop! I was going to tell her everything. I'm really sorry I didn't take a stand for you all those years ago, but I'm trying to fix all that now with our daughter. Dakota and I shrieked together. Daughter? Dimitri put an arm around each of our shoulders. Huh, your sisters? That's so cute. I can't wait to get married to Amara and have daughters of my own. Get your filthy hands off my daughters! After he and Gavin kicked Dimitri out, Mr. Armitage walked over to Mom. Please, give me another chance. For our daughter's sake. She's not your daughter. Her father left us a few years ago. You men are all the same. Mr. Armitage looked stunned. Then he looked at me and said, Oh, she's not? Well, yeah, okay. Actually, that doesn't matter. I think she's an amazing girl, and I would like her to stay. I can send her to the best school and university, and pay for your treatments. I'll even pay off your debts. For a second, Mom looked shocked, and then she jumped at him and hugged him. My darling, I missed you so much. Well, long story short, Mom did give him another chance. He paid off our debt, and Mama and my siblings moved to the city too for her treatment. Dakota and I are kind of friends now, although she did kick me out of her room. And most importantly, Mr. Armitage fired Miss Mercedes after he found out she'd try to get rid of me. She and Gavin moved out, but he refused to stop seeing me. So he's still my boyfriend. Who'd have thought things would turn around so much for a poor village girl?